Jim, as Joe Biden heads toward Inauguration Day, a lot of people are pushing him to do something about student loans. There's a bill passed by the House, a Democratic bill that would forgive $10,000 for each debtor. Some people think Biden could do that by executive order, and a few progressives want him to up that to $50,000 in forgiveness. What do you think?
Well, in his campaign, he said he would forgive $10,000, and he also said that he would forgive all student debt that was used for tuition at state colleges or primarily minority colleges, for anybody making less than $125,000 a year. I think this is terrible. It's a vast giveaway of the taxpayers' money, and it's unfair. You forgive student loan debt. What do you say to the high school graduate who's barely making it and has, a car debt, and he says, "Where's mine?" How do you answer?
You can get some pretty compelling stories out there of people who are, genuinely struggling with their student debts, and the default rate is like 10%. 10% within like 2 years after they finish college or start repayment.
I know, and about a quarter of undergraduates are on what they call an income-based repayment program, which is the income that you have over 150% of the poverty level, you pay 10%, only 10% of that on your student loans. And if you continue that for 20 years, the rest of it's forgiven. If you work at nonprofits and government, it's forgiven after 10 years. The government is already going to be forgiving a lot of this stuff. So
right, and I think that's a great program. I would even expand that if you want to talk about sensible long-term reforms. I mean, make it easy, because borrowers have to jump through a lot of hoops to get through that, get into that income-based repayment plan, and they've got to recertify every year. There's a lot of paperwork. A lot of people fall through the cracks. I think you could make that easier to get into. That would help a lot of people. But right now, this forgiveness idea is coming up as a stimulus for the economy. That's how it's being positioned, and it's just a very weak brew for as far as stimulus. It's going to the government would be spending a lot of money just to reduce reduce people's monthly payments by a fraction of that. It would not be much bang for the buck in comparison with other things you could do with that money.
Especially considering that a lot of people who have student loans are making a good buck anyway and don't really need the relief, and they may just put it in the bank account. If for instance you went to Rolla and became an engineer, and you took out some student loans there, you're doing fairly well. I mean, you don't need largesse from the government. The person who needs it is the person who really didn't finish college, ran up debt anyway, because the benefit of a college education goes only to those who graduate. They could be,
or the people who maybe went to a for-profit institution where the degree wasn't really worth all that much. They were kind of
you got a social work degree. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Paying for a program that didn't really get them anywhere. I mean, I think some targeted relief to those kinds of people would be in order. Would help the economy a little bit, but more importantly, would be compassionate. Would help those people.
Yes.
If you do it across the board, you're helping. I mean, frankly, a lot of doctors and lawyers. I mean, 56% of student debt is held by people with graduate or professional degrees.
Oh, sure.
Those people, for the most part, are making good money. They are getting a return on their investment, and they're able to pay back those loans.
But Joe Biden ran on giving away money to people, to people, and that's a very easy sell in Congress. I wonder if there are going to be enough conservative Republicans up there to stop it.
Well, maybe. I mean, we still don't know who's going to control the Senate, so we don't know how much of his agenda is going to go through. But a lot of people are saying he could just do this by executive order. So that's
Well, you
That's
know,
a possibility. He has not, Biden has not endorsed that idea yet.
Trump by executive order uh, gave people a window in which they didn't have to repay student debt
Right.
until the end of December. But can you suddenly give away, hundreds of billions of dollars of the taxpayers' money by executive order?
Uh,
I don't know.
Possibly, we may find out, but that's a good point about the moratorium. Trump put that in because of the pandemic and,
Yeah.
all the people who are losing their jobs or getting their hours reduced. And that is very important relief. I think it would be wise for either Trump or Biden to extend that by
Yes.
a few more months until we get past this pandemic and get the economy rolling again. But as far as just an across the board forgiveness, I don't think it would be very good. Would be very good as stimulus, and it would be unfair, as you say. It'd be unfair to a lot of people who have already paid back their loans, or maybe parents who paid their kids way
Oh,
through
yeah.
college. They're going
Or
to
the
feel like suckers that they didn't get this free
or the,
$10,000 or
or the kid who
$50,000.
worked his way through, bussing tables.
Yeah, yeah,
And now you're giving it to the kid who laid about and went to the beer parties, and you're giving him forgiveness.
so yeah, so it's not fair to those hardworking graduates, and it's not fair to the people who didn't go to college, and who many of people in that category are the ones who are suffering the worst during this pandemic. I mean, a lot of hotel and restaurant workers, for the most part, not college educated, don't have student debt, but they've got a lot of other debts and a lot of other obligations, and they're struggling. I would prefer to spend the stimulus money on them.
So would I.